I want to ask you actually, just off the top of my head a minute ago, how did you land the interview with Justin Waller? That was pretty good. That was only 2 months ago.
Yeah, it was a little bit a while ago. Yeah, that's a really good thing. So I teach a lot of the networking stuff. So again, you've probably had other people on like Michael Sartain, very similar guys, and so we're in the know-how of like who's popping and who's not. Now that wasn't something that I was like. It took years and years and years. It actually took quite not that long at all. And so if you caveat that to, I actually interviewed one of his good friends, Sterling Cooper. So that definitely helped. So when you have that referral of like someone can go to your friend and be like, "Oh, is this guy legit? Is he cool?" And Sterling obviously gave a good thumbs up about me. I had a good interview with him, and an Aussie, and I'll go end up. He's out in Marbella, so I'll go hang out with him soon. And so then I shot my shot at Justin, tried to get him on, and then we tried to do it in Dubai. I was in Dubai, weren't able to do it in Dubai. We our paths didn't cross. Tried in Romania, paths didn't cross again. And then I was in Miami. I was actually with a client in Mexico, and I jumped over to Miami, and I was like, let me just organize it. So I hit up his assistant. I was very close with his assistant Thomas, and Thomas is awesome, awesome dude. And we were made it happen. I just made shit happen. I have this way that I teach a lot of my guys and myself is if if you want to bend reality, you just have to make it happen. It's count like sleepless nights. You just make it happen. And there's
Mhm.
no two ways about it. There's no, oh, it's not working or complaining. You just figure it out. So,
Like you
keep
coming here at 6 a.m., you make it
yeah,
happen.
you make it happen, right? A couple hours sleep, this, that, you make it happen. And then even here, you've got to be bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. People are watching this, I can be like, oh, I'm tired of it. No, their attention is something that is valuable to me, and your attention is something that's valued to me. So I go be that. So within these people, I made shit happen, multiple different studios and this and that, and then finally we're able to organize it. And there's a little I wouldn't say there's buzz, but I know a lot of people, being familiar with his other friends, being familiar, I was in Romania, we were hanging out with Sneeko, we were hanging out with a few other boys out in Romania. So I'm around the kind of scene. So they at least they know one or two people, and then a lot of people do know that my affiliation with Owen and the RSD boys, and so that definitely does help. There is some sort of prolonged value that I've given to the community per se, and now I'm doing my thing here, which is people are noticing, which is awesome too.
So yeah, that's kind of interesting because I know a few. I so Michael Sartain, I have been interviewing him since
Yep.
2021, and actually that was before he started the podcast. So I'm kind of proud that I was like one of
Yeah,
the
you're the one that found him, bro, or at
I
least it's a little bit of
I
discovery.
discovered him. Well, that's not exactly how it worked, but
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough to be smart enough to figure out that he was a valuable person to have on our channel. And
Yeah,
he
absolutely.
was basically the first well, actually not really, because I had Ross Jeffries a few years before and Brandon Carter and all these other guys. But RSD, I was associated with RSD for some time. I
Sure.
think 2016, 2018, and then I think 2018, the very end of it, it was pretty much over anyway.
Uh-huh.
So I was the leader of the biggest group because I moved to London in the 2010s, and uh, they had the biggest community there. So I was doing events. I got to meet Brandon Carter, now Derek Moneyberg, who was RSD
Yep.
Derek back then. Pretty much everyone in RSD I worked with or interviewed, apart from you and apart
Yeah.
from Owen, actually. But Owen
Yeah.
has called me a few times this year. Um,
Awesome.
but yeah,
Cool.
pretty
Good
much
stuff.
everyone I did an event with. So networking really has always been a thing for me. It really started before all of this though, because the first ever kind of job I was doing wasn't really a job exactly. I started as an independent game developer in the 2000s, making my own mini games.
Okay.
And there were some naturally in this kind of video game community or of independence. There were the people who were the top of that game, and I befriended those guys. So even though it was quite some time ago, I was looking at it back then as climbing a ladder. But the way I
Hmm.
kind of see it now is um, just making a lot of those connections. The way you described it, having those mutual connections really helped because
Oh yeah.
I think 2 weeks ago now, I was on the Just Pearly Things live
Yep.
stream, and it helps to know she knows Michael Sartain,
Yep.
and Justin Waller has been on her show too, but I don't know Justin.
Yeah.
But I do know some other people. Actually, Justin Mark was on her show a
Yep.
year ago, and I was with him 1 hour before that. I met him in person the same day, and I didn't make that connection until a few weeks ago. I didn't even know
Damn.
who she was until
Hmm.
kind of recently. Uh, it was only
Yeah.
recently that I realized. But what I did was I made a list of these podcasts, and I listed the mutual connections that I would see on the YouTube videos that I would go on. I was like,
Yep.
okay, so the Just Pearly Things one, I know Sarah Garvey, there's that guy, I'm friends with him on Facebook. Michael Sartain, she has been on his podcast. And I just list every mutual connection we have. And
Yep.
then I use that as like, so I'm a big believer in the 6 degrees of separation theory.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, there really is a lot of truth to that. It is pretty crazy.
Yeah,
And
man. Yeah, it's huge, especially in our industry. Very, very tight knit. Also.
exactly. Oh yeah, for sure. And it just makes it easier because the first this is the second multi-coach panel I have done.
Yeah.
The 2 weeks ago, I think. There were seven of us. So surely if I keep doing this, and if one person refers another person, we go from seven to seven times seven times seven
Yeah.
times seven.
Yeah.
Ideally, but we had less people this time, and Justin and Bad Boy were on the last one anyway. But this
Yep.
kind of opens it up a lot more. So especially
Well, yeah,
this
yeah.
year, I've been making those connections.
Having a legend, like Ross in the space is always fantastic.
I just
It's
got to
always something
switch to
that,
my
that
lost
yeah, no
battery in
stress.
the other one there.
No stress, bro. No stress at
See
all.
if this works. Could you say something?
Yo, yo.
There we go. That works. That
Perfect. Yeah, no,
was
especially having Ross in the space and having, some big names, which is good, man. Like, it's one of those things that, networking is something that was never really taught. It was never really discussed. And it was something that was like a bit on the off burner, like, oh, yeah, but it's all girls, 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 girls. And that's fantastic. Don't get me wrong. And I'm all for it. But again, also developing your social skills. Some of my best understandings of people and human dynamics has been through networking with not only high status people, because you're dealing with someone that's almost like a celebrity. I get sometimes more nervous dealing with them than any girl that I've ever approached in the last couple of years, right? And you'd say it's similar, but let's just say, for me, one of the things is I try to lower that barrier of anxiety when I'm around people because it does change you. People are like, oh, how do you network with these people? It's like because I put myself around the biggest people in the world and I learn how to deal with my own anxieties, learn how to be able to control it, be able to manipulate it, be able to reframe it. And so this is not only because I've been around the biggest people in the world, but I've actually made efforts to be around these people, and it improves your network, it improves your net worth. If you've got a bunch of friends that are really, really rich, and you can never go broke because they'll always give you a job to do in their company or their business. Like you can't ever fall down to the ground. And I've fallen a couple of times, don't get me wrong, since when I've started. It's one of those things that it's a benefit to your life. And people sometimes don't see it. They think like, oh, game, 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 game. And that's fantastic. That gives you the social skills. But that's almost like a pillar and a lever to pull. And once you got that handle, now it's time to play the real game of life, getting your finances on point, getting your social circle down pat, getting your network. really, really tapped in, because I think that at a certain level, we can get to a level where, guys are teaching this cold approach and gets to a certain level, but then you've got to become that guy that is that, 10 out of 10, quote unquote, 10 out of 10. A lot of the time, that's what I teach a lot of the guys. I have a 7 pillar system, and game is only one of the pillars. Game is only just one pillar for me and what I teach. For other people, it's very, very huge, but for me, it's a way to improve your social skills so that you're able to leverage yourself. Because again, I could be going out roaming the club, but no matter what, if I'm in one of the most exclusive parties in Miami or Dubai or anywhere, and there's girls that are there and they're attractive, and it's a barrier to entry to get into this event, man, it's almost like a done deal at that point. So there are different ways that I think about it, different ways that I've come from over the years, because I've been surrounded by these kind of people. So I would say that networking is one of the things that, your audience, especially if they could definitely go, okay, well, look as you did, who are my connections? Like you did a great example. Who knows this person? Who knows that? How can I not only leverage that, but how can I get to know all these people through the people that I've already met? Fantastic, man. You couldn't have written it better how you did it for yourself.
Did you say earlier Aussie as in RSD Aussie in Marbella?
No. Sterling Cooper in Marbella.
Okay. Do you know what
Yeah, no,
happened
no.
to Ozzy? Because he would have been perfect for this old bastards edition.
Absolutely. No, I'm not too sure. I haven't been in communication with him for a long time. So yeah, I wouldn't have a clue, my friend.
Uh,
Unfortunately.
he has
I hope he's doing well though,
disappeared.
you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, I hope
well,
he's doing
well,
well.
although he's a Cubano, so technically it's kind of difficult to contact anyone if they are back in Havana, let's say. That's
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
from
yeah.
what I know at least. So maybe that's the reason. I don't know. He just disappeared.